All right, please say your name
Laura Moore.
and what is your personal project theme?
My personal project theme is it's called like skill building in watercolor. So I'm working towards just getting better at that at watercolor.
Can you give the reasons why you chose this topic?
I'm already really interested in things like visual arts, so I just want to get better in like different aspects of that, especially with like watercolor.
And why do you like watercolor?
I just think it looks really like pretty, like the aesthetic appeal, like it just appeals to me. So I really like it as a medium.
Okay, and what was the goal of your project?
The goal of my project was to be able to increase my skills in it, and then be able to like portray my improvement throughout the year to my friends and like the my peers.
Okay, now um, provide information about your product. How was this challenging?
It's challenging, sort of, because like the technical likeness of it, like the watercolor as a medium is very like hard to work with. And it was like really frustrating at the start. I'm just trying to like get better with the tougher mediums, because if I'm good with a tough medium, I'm surely gonna be better with like easier mediums like other types of paints.
Okay, so why is watercolor harder than, so give some other examples of what it's harder than.
Like acrylic paint and oil paint, stuff like that is like it's more like firm. Like watercolor can like run about the paper because it's water. It's much less dense, and so it's like it's not strong. It's hard to explain, but like it's it can like blend with other colors without you wanting it to, sort of
Mm.
like that, because it can run like across the page, sort of.
What was the global context for your project?
Um, I said my global context for it was like personal and cultural expression, because like I'm expressing myself through like visual art.
Do you think it fit your project?
Um, yeah, I think it fit my project because like I can express like certain aspects about me, especially through like color choices. Like, if I like a certain color, you might see it more frequently throughout my pieces, or like certain patterns.
Okay, what prior learning or skills did you use for your project?
Prior learning skills. Well, I've already been like taught in like drawing classes, so I already know like how to like sketch out a picture, and then all I have to do then is just be able to like color it. And I'm pretty good with things like shading and stuff like that, and color theory, color choices, so I can make like nice combinations.
Have you had art lessons and things like that, or you just
Yeah, I've like taken like the classes here, like beginning and advanced drawing, and I've also taken like summer courses. Like, I don't really remember what it was called, but I know I've taken like summer courses before.
now you had mentioned you're self-taught, and how do you self-teach?
Um,
What
it's
resources do you
what
use?
resources? Like occasionally I use like pictures on the internet for like reference, but it's mainly like me working on my own skills. Like sometimes I can use like my art like hands. Like if I want to know how to draw a hand, sometimes I can look at my own hand, and other times like it comes down to like I draw more on my own, so I see more improvement when I'm drawing on my own.
Okay, now planning. What criteria did you use to evaluate your outcome?
Um, I was like, my criteria, I was trying to like, make at least like 8 paintings, right, over like 4 months, and I've done that. I've been painting since like November, and now we're in like March, and I'm still like making more pieces. So, and I already have like 8 paintings, but I'm probably gonna do more of them. But like certain pieces I started doing in like November or December of last year, and then some pieces I've done like last weekend.
How difficult was it for you to get this done?
It was really difficult to start just because of things like motivation, because sometimes I didn't have many ideas, or I didn't want to use watercolor as a medium because I said earlier it's tough and it's frustrating. And those were like the main issues at the start, but once I got more into it, those sort of faded away.
Can you give a kind of timeline of the whole process?
Um, well, my first painting was in late November, and then I did 2 or 3 more in December. I did 2 or 3 more in January, and then a couple in February, and then a couple in March. So like two, two, three, three, one, and those might not be the right numbers, but because I'm still like painting in this month, but that was the main like process. So it's sort of balanced between the time. I didn't do many in November, but I that's when I started, so I'm technically counting it.
And did you think your self-management skills improved on working on this project as you went along?
I think they did in that like I grew more motivation to like get down to it. Like my self management, I was like better with like time management, so I could find time to make new pieces, and I was better at like motivation to actually make the pieces and not like put it off for something else.
Okay, now taking action section. Explain how it met your goal.
Um, in my opinion, I feel like I've gotten much more, like much better at it, and I've gained like new skills and things like precision. So I've become much more patient with working with it, and that helps me like become better at using watercolors.
Okay. What about your technique? Do you think that improved your techniques?
Yeah, I think like I learned new skills, and like sometimes I would do things like press. Like one of my pieces was used like a press, so I learned sort of new skills on how to like apply the colors. And then I got new like getting new brushes as well. Like I got thinner brushes so I could paint smaller, and thicker brushes so I could paint bigger.
Okay. As you found information and worked with others, what form of communication did you use?
I would often text friends of mine and sort of ask them like what I could do, what I could paint, because I didn't always have like ideas ready to go. And then sometimes I would show like my peers, my parents, my friends paintings that I've done to ask for like feedback, and also like they all congratulated me. They were all really nice about it, but they were also able to provide like important like feedback and constructive criticism.
Do you feel like you're better at critiquing and communicating about art than you were at the beginning of the project?
Um, but when it comes to communicating, I feel like I've improved in that I'm less afraid to show others things I've done, especially new things like, watercolor is like a new medium to me. Still a little bit, I mean, I've still worked on it for like 4 months, but at the start it was still kind of new to me. So I've become more confident in showing it to others, and then I've become more confident in being able to ask them for feedback and criticism, because that was tough for me at first, but it can be tough for other people too.
What thinking strategies did you use or skills?
Before I said I used things like precision and patience because as a hard medium, I had to learn to be more patient and sort of slow down because sometimes if I paint too much at once, like the colors can be messed up. And sometimes if I get like too frustrated, I just like scrap the whole piece. I did that like a couple times and it was not fun. And I learned other things like I was able to sketch out like my ideas and sort of and also with like the planning of the project I was able to like plan like when and how many pieces I wanted to do, and so that helped with like planning.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a good thinker and critiquer of art before the project, or you think this project has helped you?
I think it's helped me in that like um I'm more precise, and it's also helped me with like thinking about how I can expand skills and like because before like it was really out of my comfort zone, so it helps me like thinking new ways that I can leave that comfort zone.
Now tell me about, do you feel like your exhibition, what you're going to show is going to be successful according to what your goals were?
Well, I think as I organize it and show how like time has progressed, I feel like it has been successful because I feel like you can see more improvement in like use of color as like time goes on. Like my November piece is like not as good as a piece I've done like in this month. So I feel like it certainly shows my improvement, especially with that type of organization.
And what knowledge about your topic will you be able to use in the future that you got from this project?
Um, I'll certainly be able to use like motivation to get to work, not just with art, but like with schoolwork as well, and work in the future. And I'll also be able to use like new confidence to ask for feedback and things like that. I'll be able to like come to people like my teachers or other people in the future and like ask them for ways I can improve. Like so it comes down to like improve like communication skills and motivation skills.
Okay, now here's something, interesting question. What traits of the learning profiles did you think you used a lot? Those different learner profiles. Which ones do you think you used?
I feel like I used risk taker a lot because again I was going sort of out of my comfort zone to work with this new medium. I think I also used thinker because like I brainstormed like things that I should draw and then paint, and I was also like a communicator in that I was able to communicate with people around me and ask them for feedback or ideas.
Okay, and then the final thing, can you just explain what you expect your exhibit to look like?
I sort of like, I think I'll use a trifold, right, to like prop up all my pieces, so sort of like this, but much smaller. And then, yeah, I'll have like papers, like certain signs to show like which month, and each of the pieces that I did will like go underneath that month, and sort of like an order, like the top piece for that month will be the least recent, like the first, second, third, and then if there's three, of course. And then I might have other pieces, smaller pieces, like in front of me on the table, just like to show other things. Like they'll still be in like that order, but they can also be in front of me because I have pieces that are larger and pieces that are smaller. But it'll sort of be a gallery, like just like pieces on a wall, and then like labels of like when I did them.
Very good. Well, it was a pleasure to work with you, and I can't wait to see your art display. It's going to be wonderful.
Thank you.